In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the inverse normal distribution function on the graphical calculator. I'm going to be doing question 2 from exercise 3C of the Year 2 Stats textbook. We've got a random variable x which is normally distributed with mean 12 and standard deviation 3. And we'd like to find the value of a such that the probability x is less than a is 0.1. To do that, we go into the main menu and into the statistics mode. We're going to use F5 to go into distribution and F1 for normal distribution. F3 is the inverse normal distribution function. And for the first question, we want the probability x is less than a, so we want the left tail. You can change that using F1, F2 and F3. The area is 0.1 because that's the probability. Our standard deviation for this function is 3 and the mean is 12. And once we put that in, we can just execute using the blue button and our value of a is 8.16 or 8.155. For question B, we want the probability that x is greater than a. The value of a is such that that probability is 0.65. So pressing exit will take us back a step. This time we want the right tail because it's a greater than function and the area is 0.65. Our mean and standard deviation are the same, and so the blue execute button will tell us the value of a is 10.84. The next question is a little bit more complex because we want the probability that x is between 10 and a to be 0.25. So to help me with this question, I've drawn a little diagram. We know that the probability of x being between 10 and a is 0.25, but our calculator can't do just this bit. What we need to do first is find this missing probability here, and then we can do the inverse normal distribution to find the value of a, given that we know the probability of the whole of the left tail here. We need to go back a little bit further on the calculator for this, into distribution again, and F1 for normal distribution and normal cumulative distribution to find this tail. Our lower value is a rather large negative value, and our upper value is 10. The calculator has saved the mean and standard deviation from our previous question, so I don't need to put those in again. And that's telling me the probability of this tail here is 0.2525. When I add these two probabilities or areas together, I now know that the probability that x is less than a is 0.5025. So going back into my inverse normal, so keep exiting until I get back to this part of the menu, distribution, normal, and F3 for inverse normal. I now know that the left tail has a total area or probability of 0.5025, and therefore I know the value of a now is 12.0188. For the last question, I want to find the value of a such that the probability that x is between a and 14 is 0.32. I've got myself another diagram here. It's always worth drawing a diagram. So this area here is 0.32. I can do this two ways. I could either find the probability x is greater than 14 and then use the inverse normal for the right tail, or I can find the probability x is less than 14 to get the whole of this section and then subtract 0.32 to find this probability here, which I can then use for my inverse normal. So that's what I'm going to do. So going backwards again in the menu to distribution, normal and normal cumulative, I can find the probability that x is less than 14 by setting my lower limit as a very negative value and my upper limit as 14. that tells me that the total area and the total probability that x is less than 14 is 0.7475. If I subtract the 0.32, I now know the probability that x is less than a is this region here, which is 0.4275. So going back in my calculator into distribution, normal and inverse normal, I'm looking for the left tail. The area is 0.4275. My mean and standard deviation are the same still. And so the value of A is 11.45.